All of a sudden, a person not from the area is going to come up and convert a dairy barn into a paint factory. Well, it worked, obviously. They've been there, I believe, since the early 80s. I met Sam, I know Mark and Barb Golden. We've had many conversations with them and meetings and interactions. And he took the dairy barn that was literally still just the dairy barn with the same structure, added on to it, changed it, converted it, and now it's in the building that it is today with an international company.
There was never a piece of clothing, a jacket, a pair of pants, or a shirt that didn't provoke my mom to say, "Sammy, can't you keep anything clean?" There was always paint on his clothes when he came home. And when he came home on the weekends, there was often playing around and tinkering with materials. So I enjoyed that when he'd take me in the basement and we'd experiment with some different painting materials, different ways to apply paint, and he really was a tinkerer. He loved playing with materials. He wasn't a chemist, but he wasn't afraid of trying. He was a good listener, so as he brought in consultants from other companies in terms of working with materials, new and unique materials, because he didn't know that he couldn't, he would try. And because of that trial, he produced actually the first artist acrylic paint.
We're designing products that are going all over the world, considered by artists to be at the highest level, and to make works of art that should last 500 years plus in museums. That's a lot of pressure, you might say, to make sure we're doing the right job. I like to believe that if a formulator is doing their job, an artist should not really know, that they should just open the container and just be delighted. And the toil behind the scenes to make sure it's stable, to make sure it lasts on the shelf indefinitely, to make sure that it's archival under the lighting conditions in which the work will be shown, or that it has good weatherability. Say they're doing a mural outside, we want that to last as long as possible. It's just a fascinating behind the scenes legacy where, for most artists, they open a tube of paint and it's just a black box. The pretty color comes out and it should dry for them, and they want to not be limited in how they use it. And so we try to, within whatever capacity we can offer, to minimize limitations.
On surface, you could say it's about time and about a transition from one moment to the next and being really present. I have a series of pieces that share this element of a square or a rectangle with a turned corner. And the underside of the corner, in this case, is gold, so it's a little more precious. Taking ancient and universal ideas of what it means to be present, what the here and now is all about. In Judaism, which is the tradition I'm most familiar with, there's a term called, a Hebrew word, hineni, which means I am here. And whenever it appears in biblical stories, it implies that the speaker is implying, I am here and ready to take on whatever is presented to me. And I want my work to reflect that kind of openness and presence.
When I first came here, I was just a young kid. I was 24 years old. I didn't have that sense of something higher, but I feel that here. That every day that we make this good product, we pass good product through these hands. It's an amazing feeling to be part of something bigger.
When you go to work every day and somebody actually cares about what you think, and not only cares about what you think, but lets you make decisions and even lets you make mistakes, and that's okay, this becomes your company. You own it financially, but you also own it psychologically.
When they're loading their paint into their machines, they're not agitating that paint at all. When they're going in, they're looking at it, and they're looking at it, and they're making sure that it's spot on perfect before they put it in those jars. And I don't know, it spoke to me that this place was about family and it was about quality.
It's having the opportunity to experience something that's universal. that I individually am experiencing, and I'm hoping that my work presents that opportunity to a viewer.
I've been other places where I wasn't, maybe so happy working that I did become jaded in my past. I didn't think I could literally look forward to coming to work and enjoy it and make a decent living and be in my own community.
I love the way we do a lot of different things here. If it's a discipline piece, it's not just one person dealing with it. It's going to be 3 people.
That makes an enormous difference in how people feel about themselves day to day, that they're valued. It also makes an enormous difference when you go to work every day and you know that what you do affects what happens to your colleagues.
I'm on my 4th year last month, cancer-free. I don't know, I know for a fact the companies that I worked for previously that I would have been out of a job in a short period of time. People here stuck behind me. They were kind enough to get me one of the very desks that raise up and down. It's difficult for me to sit there for a number of hours a day doing data entry, so it allows me to stand for a period of time and sit down for a period of time. That wasn't something that I asked for. It was something that I mentioned that my physician thought would help, and I mentioned that, and next thing I knew, everybody had taken care of it, and I came in one morning and it was all set up and ready to go.
Everything that I do directly impacts the next guy, directly impacts my colleagues.
Just there's a spark of happiness or joy or delight, and then just to maybe see how sculptures or art can represent possibilities. It's a kind of a visual metaphor for how we, for being optimistic.
When I think about Golden, I think about prosperity. For them to hire 250 people, every business in town benefit from that. Despite do a great product, despite being a great company to deal with, as you see right now, I'm doing a little launch for my friends. I call them my friends because they are not our customers. We build such a great relationship between the pizzeria and the Golden artist that we call ourselves our friends, not customers.
Golden's is what America was built on. I mean, America was not built on huge corporations. It's great when a corporation does get big and, because they can provide even more jobs. But the backbone of our country really still is the small business. And to run a small business is a lot of work. It's not as easy as it looks, even though Golden's is one of the people who do make it look easy. But the impact they have on our economy is tremendous. Not only does they employ probably, I believe it's around 100 people now, maybe more, but those people live here, they own homes here, they serve on our school boards, they serve on our town boards, they're mayors, they are council people, they are leaders of their children's programs. That would not exist if they weren't here. They could easily manufacture, I'm sure, their paint overseas or somewhere else and make a bigger profit for themselves. But that's not what America's about. America's about supporting each other and making your community stronger and better by providing good jobs and a place where people can raise their families. And this little place that we live in called New Berlin, in the middle of nowheres, is a fantastic place to raise a family because of people like Golden's that provide great jobs and are a stable force in our economy.
For any company, you can't simply be taking from a community. For any environment, you can't just take from a community and expect it to thrive, that you have to be willing to give back.
We take care of handicapped individuals who need special needs. We actually have 4 that live in my house.
I felt when I was at the loading dock that I was with someone who was just as integral to the company as upstairs in the offices. Everyone seems to have a stake.
When you pack that box, somebody's going to open it and say, this looks great. Okay, so we all have steps that we go through. This has got to be one size you go through. Everybody packs different.
We got a torrential downpour, and all of a sudden we had all this mud coming into the building. And it was like, anyone that's in the building, could you come downstairs? We have a major. So down, we're moving, trying to salvage the product, get it out of the way, and just working together and laughing, and then got that fixed.
But those people live here, they own homes here. They serve on our school boards, they serve on our town boards, they're mayors, they are council people, they are leaders of their children's programs.
I come from a land where each village, each city is something to tell you. We have a very, very, very old history on art. Like you mentioned before, Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, or Giotto.
I am a true believer in the cliche that art can change the world.
And you look at the horizon line and it's showing you something off into the future. If you're going down that road, that means that you will reach another point along the road at some point in the future. So as a metaphor for being in the present moment, being at a point along that road, I think is an accurate. This is kind of an accurate visual metaphor for that idea.
After talking to people in the Golden Artist Residency Program and hearing what inspires them and how they got to what's hanging on the wall, I have now tried to take their words, and when I have a free time and I'm somewhere and I have a chance to do that, which I never really understood before, people sitting and looking at a painting, I'm thinking, why would you want to look at it? Just walk by it. I have learned that you need to sit and enjoy art slowly, just like you don't need to have fast food. You should sit and enjoy a great meal. You should really learn to sit and enjoy a piece of art and really take it in.